Hello everybody, it's GB. I want to jump into today's video as fast as possible, so quick explanation. I went onto Twitter and I told people on Twitter they could ask me anything they wanted, but the catch was I wanted them to really ask me, and they had to do it in ASMR. So today's Q&A is brought to you by the lovely human beings of Twitter, featuring their attempts at some ASMR speaking to make this video fully immersible and fully able to consume with your eyes closed. And you get to hear some of the voices of the fellow community members, which I thought would be kind of fun. So I want this to be sort of a fast-paced Q&A. Sometimes I get kind of lengthy. So I'm going to hop right in and answer them to the point and move on to the next, trying to get through as many as I can. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. Let's get started.
Has there ever been something you've really wanted to do until you learned more about it and decided it wasn't for you?
Yes, voice acting. It has always been a passion of mine and something that I seriously wanted to pursue as hard as I could and hopefully make it in the industry for real. I did go down a couple of avenues. I talked to some people that are deep in the industry, and it really turns out that the industry itself is incredibly saturated. So it really wouldn't be worth trying to get in. And basically I figured it was better to focus on my YouTube channel and what I was already doing. However, I still love doing it, so whenever I can, just as a hobby, I'll always love doing voice acting stuff.
What is your funniest convention stories? I know you used to go to a lot of Comic-Cons, so I would love to know your funniest one.
Funniest convention stories. Oh God. Honestly, there has to be so many. One of them that pops into my mind is we would always have to do a lot of rehearsing because I like to do the skits, the masquerade, where you get up on stage and you do your skit in front of a bunch of people in your cosplay. So you'd have to rehearse with the other people in your skit sometime, somehow, somewhere. So we would be rehearsing in the middle of hotel lobbies, trying to find different corners and things to go and get our rehearsals in. And we've gotten caught quite a few times from hotel staff being like, you need to leave, and they're just staring at us in our cosplay, and it's very embarrassing. So that's always fun, trying to find a place to rehearse. Conventions themselves are like a trip, so the whole weekend is one giant funny story. I also really liked taking electric scooters around downtown San Jose, dressed up as Jesse and James. That was a good time. Oh my god, this one's from Karuna Satori.
Dear GB, when are you and Ben going to have a baby? Yours truly, Karuna.
Karuna, asking the questions that people want to know. Genuinely, Ben and I were thinking that if we were going to have kids, it would probably be in 2 years, but I think we would have to evaluate that once the time approaches. But we aren't gonna actually attempt anything probably for 2 years, because then Ben will be 30. So that was kind of like a time cutoff that we wanted to address. Really depends how everything else is going though, to be honest. And it depends on when my other family members and my friends kind of start their family too. I don't want to be too far ahead or too far behind, if that makes sense. But But I think we want kids. I think we've decided on that.
You obviously don't have to answer, but if you had to pick between Satine and Luigi, who would you pick? Thank you, Evie.
Picking between my two children, Luigi or Satine. I actually talk about the differences between them a lot with Ben because Satine is a lot. She's a lot to handle. So Ben and I often talk about like, oh, she's like very different Luigi in X way, or he was different in Y way. I would say with Satine, I get a lot more sleep. That was the hard part about Luigi. He would wake up multiple times a night because he was very old and he had arthritis and he couldn't hold his potty very long. So I would get up multiple times every single night to let him go potty, to let him readjust in bed, and we had to sleep. He had to sleep in between Ben and I. The whole time we had him, he would sleep in between us because he would fall off the bed otherwise and get hurt. So it was very more like protecting like an infant. It was more like an infant, and Satine is more like a toddler. So Satine is a lot more energy. I think because I'm taking care of Satine right now, I want to say that, oh, she's harder, and I like look back on like with rose-colored glasses about Luigi. And the great thing about Luigi was that he was so snuggly and loved to be held and loved to sleep in my lap, and Satine is not like that at all. She doesn't really like to be pet. She kind of just wants to be around but doesn't want to snuggle or anything, which is hard because she's so fluffy. So I would say they are complete opposites, and I think personally I am more the type to have a small cuddly dog, and Ben is more the type to have like a big dog. But I've really come into the aspect of like learning a lot about training. I couldn't train Luigi to do anything. He was senile, he couldn't do anything. So I've really enjoyed learning about training. Satine is so smart, doing a lot of things with her. So I can't pick. It's too difficult for me, honestly. But they were both very interesting, challenging, but very loving experiences, and we still have hopefully a lot of time with Satine to bond and grow with her too.
Which fandom have you most enjoyed being a part of?
Which fandom have I most enjoyed being a part of? Well, I am obsessed with like fandoms, fan art. Animated shows are really my thing, anime and animated shows. Nothing makes me happier than like looking up fan art of my favorite characters, and I don't do a lot of like community things with the fandoms. It's more like in my own head. Right now, I think the Castlevania fandom is my favorite. I love the Hunter x Hunter fandom as well. But obviously, most impactful on my life has been the ASMR fandom community, but I feel like that's a cop-out. So I'd say like right now, maybe it's Castlevania. I really enjoyed. Good fandom, good community.
GB, what were some of the interview questions that Lorelei asked Daisy when she hired her?
Ooh, what were some of the interview questions Lorelei asked Daisy? She asked her if she could swim, and she asked her if she had any arrests. She asked her how often she could work and if she could work weekends. She asked her if she spoke Orca, and I think Daisy probably lied about most of that, to be honest.
Hi GB, I would like to ask, what is the furthest place you've ever traveled to?
The furthest place I ever traveled to was Japan. I spent 10 days there, and it was not enough. I am looking to go back. It was incredible.
Hello, welcome to my ASMR question for GB ASMR. And my question is, who did you used to look up to when you were first
starting YouTube, and who do you look up to now that you're bigger in YouTube? Also, your piano videos help me sleep a lot, so thank you.
You're welcome. That's a really good question. When I started YouTube, I was actually in 6th grade. My brother and I had a channel, and we idolized Smosh and JKL Productions, which was where Fred was originally from. And we just loved them. We watched Nults, a lot of like the OG YouTubers. I've been watching Bub's Beauty, and now she posts mostly on Bub's vlogs. I've been watching her for over a decade. So those were like my original people. And then when I started watching ASMR, I watched a lot of ASMR artists, but I got so much inspiration from Gentle Whispering, Heather Feather, and ASMR Requests when I was starting out, because I idolized them, and I still do. I wish that Heather and Allie were around and posted a lot, but Maria's still here, and I look up to her so much. Now I actually am very grateful to call a lot of the people that I look up to now like more my peers, which is very mind-blowing to me. It's been nice getting to know people outside of the ASMR community. I think Twitch really helped with that as well. But there's so many, like, now it's more of a personal experience when you're inspired by acquaintances and friends. It's really crazy, and I like it a lot. I will say very recently, I was very inspired by Atlas ASMR. He inspired me to go all in on my Crollo video. That was more like a passion project for me. So thank you, Atlas. You are killing it, my dude.
Hi, JB. What is one thing you wish your parents didn't know about you?
Oh no, my mom watches all my videos. Mom, skip ahead. I actually tell my parents pretty much like anything. I wouldn't say I tell them everything, because I guess there are some things like, oh, I'm sure they don't want to know that. Maybe some of my like endeavors in like senior year of high school or college, I'm sure they don't want to know about that. I used to, got into a little bit of trouble. Not too much trouble, actually. Just a little bit. Like, genuinely, just a little bit. It's okay.
Do you know BTS?
Do I know BTS? Yes, of course I know BTS. One of my best friends is a total K-pop fan. I wouldn't even call her a stan, just a fan, a very avid fan. She listens to NCT and EXO. I hope to God I got that right. But I was introduced to K-pop from BTS. My cousin James loved them, and we both love Jimin the most. And I listen to a decent amount of K-pop as well. Very good music.
Which anime character do you think you can relate to the most?
Okay, in like not a serious way, is Jessie from Team Rocket. So my cousin James, we like always have seen ourselves as Jessie and James, because they are very, very dramatic versions of ourselves, and like our like relationship to each other, just like constantly like roasting and just like being super extra and stuff like that. Very funny. I've always like loved them the most.
AGB or Gibby, whichever you prefer. My question is, how has your life changed the most since you become one of the top creators on YouTube in the ASMR category? Thanks for answering.
My life has changed almost fully. I think a lot of it was that I started my channel right before my senior year of college. So I think my life was always going to change. It just depended on what job I was going to go into. But the fact that it is YouTube, and then even more specifically ASMR, oh my god, I would have never predicted the things that I've gotten to do. Like in my life, like I can't make this up sort of thing. Just like my day-to-day, my schedule, where I ended up like buying a house, like all these things all surround my life is completely immersed in my ASMR YouTube channel, and everything else just sort of branches off past that. So it truly did change my life, because it is now my life, if that makes sense. Yeah, fun stuff though. I really enjoy it.
What was the best reaction that someone had when you told them that you record ASMR videos for a living?
What's the best reaction? Well, actually, one time I got through an entire show. Like I was sitting at a show, like a live show, and I was talking to my friend who like I hadn't seen in a while, who came to the show with me, and they were asking me about what was going on with my life and how things were with my channel. And so I was like babbling on about stuff and talking about things. And 3 hours later, right when we're like, the show's done, we're about to leave, the girl next to me is like, taps me on the shoulder and is like, I just want to say that I'm a huge fan. And I was like, what? I think she said like it was her sister. She's like, the person next to me was her sister. She's like, my sister watches you all the time. And I was like, oh my god, I can't imagine what they like heard me say. Like, I'm like, what did I talk about? So that was fun. That was good. Tell me first if you know me.
Be honest, GB.
Okay.
How damaged is your hair after bleaching half of it? And also, if it's not damaged, please tell me your secrets.
Oh, no secrets. It got super damaged. So that's why I actually dyed my hair back to brown on this side, because it was starting to like, I was starting to give myself like a chemical haircut. It wasn't too bad. The hairstylists I go to are super talented and take really good care of my hair, but like the baby hairs kind of around the front of my face couldn't handle like the constant bleaching. So now it's just underneath. I really want to chop it all off. I'm sure you will see me do that in my YouTube lifetime.
What is your stance on cheese?
What is my stance on cheese? I am obsessed with cheese. I love cheese. I eat cheese every day. I cut out cheese for 2 weeks to see if I had an intolerance to dairy. And it was not as hard as I thought to cut out cheese. As much as I love cheese, it wasn't as hard as I thought. Conflicting opinions.
Describe the worst date that you have ever been on.
2. I have 2 stories. 1, it wasn't really a date because I was already dating Ben, but I had said yes to go to a movie with this guy before I started dating Ben. So it was like a really quick like overlap. So I don't know if he thought it was a date. It wasn't, we were like classmates, you know? But he asked me to go to Saw, because they were showing the movie, the original movie Saw, at a movie theater for Halloween. And he was like, do you want to go? And I was like, okay. And I went with him. And I kind of did the thing where I didn't look at him the whole time, but I could like feel him like looking at me sort of thing. But it was also unsettling just because we were at the movie Saw, which is so like disgusting and like disturbing. So after this whole time, and I'm like trying to like keep my hands in my lap, and I'm already dating Ben and like all this stuff. The movie's finally over. It's super late at night, and we're walking back to like the college campus, and he's like, oh yeah, telling me about like his favorite spots on college campus. And he's like, yeah, one of my favorite spots is like on the roof of my dorm. Like, we should go up there. We should go up to the roof of my dorm. And I'm like, absolutely not. That sounds like the last place that I'm gonna go right now is to a roof. I'm like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave. So, that was number one. As for the second one, I don't think I should tell it. I think I told it on Twitch before, but it's a little too much for YouTube. Sorry, I know that's rude of me to not say, but I can't do it.
Have you ever accidentally snipped your hair?
Have I ever accidentally snipped my hair? Never accidentally, but I did give myself a haircut when I was a little kid. And then recently, we were playing the pizza box game where you like make different rules, and like if your quarter lands in the rule, then you have to do it. And one of my friends' rule was cut off a piece of your hair. So I did. I like took like a piece of my hair, cut it off. It was like a decent chunk too.
Hey GB, I just wanted to ask what your AIM username was. Thank you.
That was a great question. One of them was MCRX Love. MCR Love for My Chemical Romance. One of them had to do with Kyrie from Kingdom Hearts. And I used to make a lot of them, but those were my main ones. MCR Love was my main one. And then I had another one called And Then She Said, because then when I would post a message, it would say, and then she said, and then my message.
Hey GB, hi. Can you tell me what app you use for sheet music when you play piano on stream?
Yes, I use the Guitar Tabs app. I'll show you what it looks like. It looks like this. So it's like a G for Guitar Tabs. That's the one I use. I've also had good luck with Chordify.
What is your favorite music to listen to?
Lo-fi hip-hop is probably my favorite to listen to. I listen to it the most because it really just like helps me focus. And then I also love Broadway music, anime music, and that's pretty much all. And like I listen to some K-pop, but that's pretty much all I listen to. I like to listen to the playlist Viral Hits, which is all like the TikTok songs. I like Cardi B and Doja Cat. I love Ariana Grande. And I'll like randomly listen to some songs. I really like sad songs. I love Mitski. Mitski I really love. But most of the time I'm listening to lo-fi hip-hop and anime music. And then I'll put on some Broadway sometimes, like sing along, or like any of those artists that I mentioned.
Has there been a time where Satine has embarrassed you in a public space?
Oh, yes. Satine is a bit much. We had family Christmas dinner, and I had to go home early because she was throwing a puppy fit and wouldn't lay down, and I got super frustrated, so I had to go home. That was embarrassing. In public, she is like very stunning dog. Like she's very pretty. she knows it sort of thing. So people will like want to come up to her, but since she's a shepherd, she gets like a little like put off if people stare at her, which is really conflicting. It's like people want to stare at her because she like looks very striking, but she like gets super uncomfy when people stare. So sometimes if people approach to try to pet her, she'll bark at them, which is okay. I mean, obviously it's a stranger approaching you. So I usually tell people to like kneel down and then tell her to go to them, and that works like a charm. One time we were working on training and we were passing a man sitting on a bench, and she like tried to sniff him and he screamed and was like, no, 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 no. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I totally get it. Like, some people have a phobia of dogs. They don't want dogs near them, and it's my job to make sure that she's not sniffing strangers or going up to people, because some people don't want to be approached by a dog, and that's okay. But it was a very large outburst, and I was like, oh no, I am so embarrassed. And then my dog trainer, who was helping the session, made me walk by him like 5 more times to like drill it into Satine that like she can't approach people.
Hi. What's the most embarrassing moment you've had in a grocery store?
In a grocery store? Oh, pretty recently I dropped a whole bottle. Okay. I dropped a bottle of floor cleaning solution. There are worse things you could drop on a floor, but I was super embarrassed, obviously, because nobody likes dropping something on the ground. It like plopped everywhere, and I went to go like find some help to like tell somebody that there was a spill, but another man like got to the guy first, so it looked like I was trying to run away from the spill, and I was like, I was trying to find somebody. And this is like during COVID, so everybody has masks on, and it's hard to like, excuse me, like nobody can hear you. I was embarrassed. Their floor was clean, but I always wish that like I could be the one to clean it up. I feel so bad.
Do you believe in a conspiracy theory? And if yes, which one?
Conspiracy theory. I definitely believe in the mattress stores being a money laundering front. Conspiracy theory. 100% believe that one. Easy.
Do you know where you got the sweater that Mistletoe wears in the first Mistletoe video? I really like it. Oh, and the third one. It's also in the third one. It's cute. I like it a lot. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Yes, I got it on eBay. We had like a ugly sweater party years ago, and we bought a ton of ugly sweaters off of eBay. Sorry.
Hello. I wanted to ask you, what has been the worst date that you've ever been on, or something embarrassing that happened during a date?
Alright. We got a second request for an embarrassing date. Maybe I should. Oh, you know what I haven't told? Okay, this is extremely cringe. One time I went to camp, except I was in high school, so I'm like 15, I think. I thought this person was cute, and I was like trying to talk to him, and I guess I didn't pick up that he was not into it, So, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my, like, dorm. And I was like, okay, I'll come with. And so I started walking with him, but he was walking really fast and, like, ahead of me. And then we got to the dorm and he, like, went in and shut the door. And I was like, oh, he did not want, okay. It was not a good week for me. It was not a good week for Miss GB. No, it was not. If I could erase 1 week from my life, I'll take that one. That one's good. That one's good. Well, hi, Miss Satine. You think you can just barge on in here, huh, Miss Thing? Okay, Satine is joining me. Apologies for heavy breathing.
What would you define as your personal style?
My personal style? I think it is grown up emo / e-girl, slightly androgynous. Sometimes mom style. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I wear a lot of different stuff, so it's hard to put it into words, I think.
What is your favorite video game of all time?
Of all time, probably the Sims series. That's probably the one I've put the most time into. The Sims series is just amazing. Sims 4, I've been playing a ton. I just really value the creativity and, like, the imagination involved in it has been really good for me, and I just love it. I love The Sims. I've played a lot of video games in my time. Rhythm Heaven is a random, like, honorary mention. In terms of, like, story games with characters, I think Overwatch probably has a pretty big place in my heart. But recently, Amori, unreal. So good.
Hi, GB. Hi. What is the weirdest food combo that you really like?
Weirdest food combo I really like. It's actually Takis and double stuff milk Milano cookies, because they just balance each other out really well.
Hi, GB. I was wondering what your favorite part of your wedding was. I'm planning mine right now and love to hear wedding stories.
Oh, congratulations on your wedding. Oh my gosh, my wedding day was awesome. I did a lot of planning and I'm just really grateful that it all was relatively smooth. Beside the obvious, like, I got married and my family was there, my friends were there, like, that was the best part. But, like, a part that I actually have always wanted to talk about was I hired my favorite YouTube piano player. His name is Kyle Landry, and I've been watching him since I was, like, a young teen. And I flew him out to the wedding, and he played the piano before the ceremony. And when I walked down the aisle, and I walked down to Dearly Beloved from Kingdom Hearts, which is he's done 10 covers of Dearly Beloved on his channel, and he played a wedding appropriate version when I was walking down the aisle, and that was just, and he was playing all these different types of music from things and fandoms that Ben and I both love. Like, before I walked down the aisle, like while people were walking, etc. Like we played stuff from Your Name, and oh my gosh, people were commenting on it like afterwards, like all my friends are like, I recognize that song. So that was one of the best things that I'm really glad I thought of, and it worked out. Thank you, Kyle. You made it so perfect.
What are your preferred condiments on a hot dog?
Oh, I like it Chicago style. So I think that is mustard, onions, there's like hot peppers on it. Chicago style hot dog, because it's really fresh. It has like a really nice relish on it, and like one long pickle. Oh, a little tomato. Chicago hot dogs. So good.
Hey, GB. What's your go-to order at a bar?
My go-to order at a bar is usually like a cider, or because it's like nice to start with and easy to carry.
What's the weirdest face you could make?
Okay, I'm not gonna go all in. But Ben hates when I make this face. Hi. He hates it. Poor thing.
What is something that you have never told anyone before? Please share it with millions of strangers on the internet. Thank you.
Well, pretty much everything I've told someone. I would think that if I didn't tell somebody, it's probably just because it's boring. I used to have an anime website. Okay, Ben just took Satine to bed. Thank you. Yeah, I used to Google like how to kiss because I thought it would help me in some way. I don't think it did. I think they wrote like very generic, like how articles on it. So my first kiss was at Twilight, the movie. God bless.
If you were in charge of making your own anime, what would it be about? Like, what would be all of the elements that you had in it, and what would be the big twist?
Okay, it's a big question. I don't have like a fully fleshed out thing, but I know what I like. I definitely would love to pass the Bechdel test, which is having two women characters on screen talking about something that isn't men. Once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. But I would love to tell a really fun but probably heart-wrenching story, because I like being sad but satisfied, if that makes sense. So not like killing off the main character for the sake of it. I don't really like that. I like getting a satisfying ending, but like having sad elements in it, funny elements in it. I think that's why I really liked Castlevania. And I probably want to incorporate like animalistic things in it. Like I love Beastars, and James and I have always talked about like making like a script of something just like for fun. I think when you incorporate animals into it, it's kind of nice because more people can relate if you make them like not perfectly like human. And I really love like some good music. We love a good villain. I'd probably want a villain that you would like by the end. Yeah. Oh my god. Whew. Maybe someday.
Hi, JB.
Hi.
My question is, if you could spend one day with any one of your characters in the expanded Ghibli-verse, which one would it be? Mine would probably be Daisy, because she seems pretty cool. Anyway, have a good night.
Okay, as much as Daisy gets on my last nerve, it would probably be Daisy, because you just never know what you're gonna get into, and if you're with Daisy, it'll probably be fine. I'd also love to spend a day with Robin, Captain Robin, because I love the idea of pirates, but just one day is good. One day is fine. And she'd take care of me, make sure nothing happened.
Hi, GB.
Hi.
This is really an embarrassing question, but here goes. If you could play anyone in a film or TV show, who would you play and why? And also, this isn't limited to people who look like you, or people you think you could pull off, or, women. You could be anyone. You could look like anyone in this world.
Oh, if I could look like anyone and play anybody, I would love to be like Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. In some sort of universe where I could embody someone that could be cast as Zuko. I love his character so much. I feel like I'd want to do something live action. In terms of voice acting, it'd be Jolene for JoJo's Part 6. Oh my god. Incredible. I actually had this one anime that I really loved, manga called Kaze-san, and it's an adorable story about a girl who falls in love with one of her classmates who runs track and field. And so the girl who runs track and field is tall and runs track, which I did too. And I was like, oh my god, if they make that into an anime, I'd want to voice her so bad. And they did make it into an anime, but the voice that they cast was chef's kiss. So perfect. So I was like, okay. As if I was going to audition for it. But yeah, plenty of answers for this one. Oh, I have one more. I want to play Hamilton on Broadway in Hamilton. I would like to play Hamilton. Thank you. That is all.
As an ASM artist, you hold a lot of power. You have everybody's sleep in your hands. If you wanted to, you could just scream into the microphone and wake everybody up. So, on that note, if you had to do that and wake everybody up by screaming something into the microphone, what would you scream?
What would I scream? Hopefully I'd be screaming something like, oh my god, I know the lottery numbers. It's these. And then we would all win the lottery. But then the payout wouldn't be that much. I would never. I can't. I wouldn't. I shan't. No.
Hey GB.
Hi.
My question is, what is your favorite anime? Thanks for listening. I hope this recording works.
My favorite anime is probably Hunter x Hunter. It's gotta. I have a lot of really high anime up there. Death Note, but I think the manga is a little stronger than the anime. Devilman Crybaby, Mob Psycho, so many. But I think Hunter x Hunter is my answer for that spot. It's too good. It's literally too good.
Do you ever feel self-conscious about the voice you use when you're doing whispering or soft speaking in an ASMR video? I've tried several times now to record a question, but I listen back to them and I feel like I sound like a serial killer. So, your thoughts on this would be appreciated. Thank you.
I don't feel like a serial killer, but that's okay. I think you have a very nice voice for ASMR. A lot of the times my soft speaking, I will, like, my editor can tell you, I'll like stop talking. I'm like, I sound like trash. It's like if the tone isn't where I want it to be, which is hard to tell because like you hear something different than I hear in my head. But yeah, a lot of the times I'm like not satisfied with how I sound, and I do not think that I have a particularly relaxing voice, especially compared to other ASMR artists, so I don't think that's my strong suit, so definitely self-conscious of it.
Where would you say you fall on the Kinsey Scale?
I would say I fall... It is very complicated. I don't think I've never found that scales work well for me because I don't think that it's almost like I need a 3D graph, if that makes sense. I was actually talking about this today with my cousin. I just don't think that like a linear graph works well for me. I identify as bisexual or pansexual. To me, they're fairly interchangeable. I think a lot of people have different definitions of each one. So I say either is fine with me. And the scale just doesn't really work because if I try to start quantifying like who I have been attracted to or who I would anticipate being attracted to, very often like it just doesn't work. I think it starts getting too complicated to go on a graph. But yeah, I definitely have been attracted to all types of people, genders, looks. I have a lot of different types. Like you're like, ooh, what's your type? You know, I have like a bunch of like, oh my god, that person is so my type. But it'll be like completely different than another one of my types. So you can't really put people in a box. It's too hard.
We know you watch anime, but what's the first manga you ever read? And what's your favorite manga of all time?
Great question. The first manga I ever read, I can't remember. I want to say it was Naruto. Could have been Dragon Ball. And it could have been Death Note, but I'm pretty sure it was Naruto. And then my favorite manga of all time, gotta be Death Note. Super nostalgic for me, holds up over time. It's a complete story. It's amazing. My most recent one I finished Attack on Titan and I finished Beastars. Attack on Titan, I won't say anything. Beastars, thoroughly enjoyed. And my latest one that I'm reading is Goodnight Poon Poon. And it is so good. So good. I can't wait for more volumes to come in the mail. I ordered them all. Okay.
Hey GB, do you have any advice for college students that don't know what they're doing with their life?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, it is to put more onto your plate. Whether it's getting different jobs or like I had so many different jobs in college, and I think that helped me navigate what I felt happiest doing. So definitely extracurriculars, jobs, whatever it is, try them, do it, try them out. Class, like pay attention in class, try to pick classes relevant to what you think you like. But I would say my activities outside of class were more important to me figuring out what I liked. Good luck.
Okay, I have two to choose from in case one of them has already been asked.
Okay.
The first question is, what is the worst date you've ever been on? And the second question is, what is one of your guilty pleasures that you haven't already talked about in a video?
Oh my gosh, we were just talking about this. My friends and I said, that is literally a guilty pleasure. What was it? I'm gonna ask and see if they remember. I can't remember what we were talking about, but one of my guilty pleasures is scrolling through Pinterest. I have different folders for each of my favorite characters and fandoms, and I just listen to music and look at fan art and pin the fan art in my folders, and that is my happy place. And it is a big waste of time, except it makes me very happy, so therefore it's not a waste of time. Checkmate.
Hi, Jimmy.
Hi.
What about Weeb Wednesday?
Weeb Wednesday. I would love to bring Weeb Wednesday back because I have a long list of manga that I want to read, anime I want to watch, and I have an anime Twitter that I will post my thoughts on, but maybe we will bring Weeb Wednesday back. We'll see.
Is there anything you've ever done that you regret posting on the internet for everyone to see?
Definitely. I actually regret a lot of what I post on the internet. I think sometimes I don't think enough and I just post and I'm like, damn, like I maybe should have. I don't like complaining or being like too negative. It's like I could be nicer. And I know I don't have to be, and there's a difference between like it's just kind of like stupid stuff where I'm like, did I really have to complain about that? Like I feel bad now. I don't know. But in terms of like embarrassing stuff, hell no. No regrets. There's this one video of me singing WAP because we hit it during my Twitch subathon. So I performed it live, uncensored. And I was like, I'm gonna take the video down if anybody uploads this. But then I actually killed it. And I was like, never mind, you can upload it. I just won't say anything because it sounds great. And I like how it turned out. But I won't upload it myself. I won't upload myself.
Hi, GB.
Rose.
Do you like potatoes?
Do I like potatoes? Of course. I love potatoes. Hash browns. Tater tots. French fries. Are you kidding me? Yes. All day. Every day.
Jeeps, why am I so obsessed with Ben's beard? It's just so full and luscious, and mine looks like a patch of dead grass. Please advise.
Unfortunately, Matt, I think that is genetics. I'm so sorry, my friend. I also love Ben's beard, though, so you can be the president of the fan club, and I will be the vice president.
How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
A woodchuck. Woodchuck. All the wood he could chuck. If a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Hey, GB. I was wondering, if you could time travel, would you? And if so, to the past, to the future, or like to when exactly?
Oh man. Now, all of modern media tells us that that is a terrible idea. It could break things. Terrible. I think if I were presented with a button that let me time travel to the future and come back, like the thing is that I need to come back. I don't want to stay. If a button was presented, was like, would you like to go to the future? I think the past is more messy. Go to the future. I would have a hard time not pressing it. My curiosity would definitely get the better of me. And while I think that it would answer questions and like help me navigate my life, I can also see it hindering me depending on what I find.
Okay, what group of kids sat next to you at lunch? Like during high school? Was it like the sports kids? The drama kids? The goths? I don't know. I'm curious.
10 out of 10 question. I sat with some theater kids. I say some because there was like micro cliques, and we weren't even like cliques. It was just friend groups. I sat with theater kids and the funny kids. Girls. I went to an all-girls school. Yeah. A bunch of my friends from theater. A couple friends that weren't in theater but were just like hilarious people. There's only like 6 of us at a table most of the time. Every year, like the schedule would change. But yeah.
Hi, GB.
Shani.
What is your worst habit?
My worst habit? Not being able to get out of bed in the morning. Like how slow moving I am in the morning. I would love to change that about myself. Terrible habit. I just lay there. I'm on TikTok. I'm slow. Takes me forever to like get moving. Just do it. My God, GB, come on.
Hi, TV. I really like your paraffin. Oh, bath video. Will you make another one of the paraffin bath, please?
That one was so much fun to film. I would shoot another one. Maybe.
Hi, GB. What is a video that you really want to re-record?
A video that I want to re-record, huh? Probably have to go to like my old videos, right? I kind of do, like when I find like a really old video that I liked, like I'll like redo them, you know? Maybe one that I would have liked to re-record is the ASMR sleep clinic roleplay that got 10 million views. It was horrible. I would like to reshoot that and replace that video. I can't believe that many people have watched that. It's not good.
What's your favorite thing about being married to Ben? Also, sorry, retainers in right now.
I haven't worn my retainers in a while. My favorite thing about being married to Ben, he is the person that I actually feel the most comfortable around, which is interesting because I wouldn't say, like, in the last couple of years it like really got to that point. Like I think we had like kind of like a breakthrough moment almost like years ago. But like sometimes it's odd that I remember he's like a person because we're like just like together. It's like an entity, and then I'm like, oh, you're a person. You know what I mean? So that's nice. I am extremely comfortable around him. We get along very well. I mean, like, you would like think that that's kind of like a no-brainer, but yeah, get along very well. Communication top notch. Definitely like that. A lot of things. But I think it's just like the general like existence. I really appreciate from it.
If you had to pick your all-time favorite candle scent, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I think it would be like some type of vanilla cookie. Like it has like cookies. Christmas cookies. Oh my god, so good. So good.
Hi GB, so the question that I have for you is, what is the most embarrassing place that you have thrown up in your entire life?
Luckily, not too many places. I think when I was a really little kid, I threw up like right when I got off the plane, like in the airport. It's pretty disgusting. And I also threw up right after I got my wisdom teeth out in the office, but I was so like drugged out I don't remember. But that's also pretty bad.
What was your favorite Halloween costume from your childhood?
Great question. I loved Halloween as a kid. I was Meowth from Pokemon. I was a fly. I was a baby. I like wore like a giant onesie. That was fun. And my favorite was probably, I was Helena from the My Chemical Romance music video.
Hi GB, what is your favorite Studio Ghibli film?
It's gotta be Howl's Moving Castle. Howl is in the movie, so it has to be my favorite movie. Howl's Moving Castle.
If you never had to pay for this item ever again, which would you pick? Wigs or video game?
Wigs. I would buy so many wigs. Commissioned wigs. Oh my god, wigs.
I'm having some trouble with puppy gnawing, and I was wondering if you dealt with anything like that with Satine, and if so, how you handled it. My puppy is a large breed just like she is. Thanks.
Puppy biting. Congratulations. You have a normal puppy. It is a lot though. We did a ton of we would always redirect the biting to a toy, so always have little toys on you, things on hand, and figuring out what your puppy loves above all things. So sometimes Satine would really love something that she wasn't supposed to be gnawing on, and those are the things that we had to get rid of. And now that she's older, some of those things she's like not too interested in anymore. A lot of it they're gonna grow out of. It's just like time. You're stalling essentially. And then the things she really does love, like get more of those or always have that available and on hand, because those things will be much more interesting than the things she's going for. It's like there was like a week where she was like trying to eat all my books, and I'm like, are you kidding me, girl? But I was just very consistent in never like taking it away from her, but like bringing over something more interesting, like, or that kind of thing, or making sure that like she wasn't left alone over there. It's a lot of just keeping an eye on them. And if they're like really worked up, not petting them. Like if she's like really worked up and like kind of bitey, like you have to exercise restraint and just like leave your hands away. Good luck.
Hey Jamie, I was wondering, what's your favorite way to eat potatoes? Do you like French fries, or mashed potatoes, or
something else?
If I could choose anything, it would probably be like a really delicious hash, like when they're really good. Yeah.
Hey JB, are there any videos that you've made over the years that you wouldn't make today? Or any that you've decided to delete or private for one reason or another? Thanks.
That's a fun question. I did originally private my first 2 videos because I said my name Gina and I was like, I think I'm gonna keep that private. But then I came out with that information. So now those videos are live again. I have a ton of Patreon custom videos that are unlisted on my channel, and there's a couple of them that, and this is a little PG-13, but something that I think a lot of creators should be aware of. I have definitely unintentionally made like fetish videos for things that I didn't know was for that purpose, which is really scummy of the people who coerced me into doing that. Because like as a new ASM artist and that sort of thing, you like want to make the requests that your new viewers like want you to make. You want, you know, you're not really aware like of like certain things, but big red flags are like really detailed requests, I would say. If it's like, oh, that's a little detailed or specific, that's a huge red flag. So there's definitely a couple of those. I think there are people with like gloves, like that kind of realm. Gloves, shoes, obviously feet. A couple of other ones. Just be on the lookout. If you think it might be a fetish, it probably is, and it's really terrible that, you know, it's not consensual. My videos weren't meant to be consumed in any way other than entertainment and relaxation, so be on the lookout for those.
Who's your favorite anime villain?
Askeladd from Vinland Saga.
Hi, GB. I'm an aspiring ASM artist, but I've been scared to post because I'm nervous about my real-life friends and family's reactions. What advice do you have for getting over that type of stage fright? Thank you.
I think it's kind of like one baby step at a time, and also just taking the leap into the cold water sort of thing. Whenever I've been super nervous about something, sometimes I just like close my eyes and say it or do it, and life moves on, because ultimately life is short, things move fast. There's no time for you to regret what could have been, and the people who are close to you and who are supposed to love you and support you should do just that. So if they have a problem with it, that is not a reflection on you, but rather on them. So whatever you want to do, and especially if it's something like ASMR, which I know can be hard to explain at first, but there have been so many more articles and things validating the existence of ASMR, just how big the community is, that I think that if they want to understand, they could easily sort of educate themselves quite quickly and hopefully be your biggest supporters. Good luck.
Hey GB.
Hi.
Did you know where you wanted your Aussie stories to go? Did you plan it? Or did they just run wild? Like Daisy?
I have a little bit of like GB lore like underneath the surface, but that I go a little bit video to video. I have a baseline for all of my characters and what they're like, but a lot of the times a new video will propose new questions for me to for me to sort of ponder over and answer, if that makes sense. So I'm constantly like growing their internal personality and lore, like as I make new videos.
G'day, GB. It's Sheila ASMR here. I was just wondering, which fictional character do you love but feel would be absolutely insufferable to deal with in everyday life?
Levi from Attack on Titan. God, I love him so much. But I don't think I don't think you'd really want to interact with him IRL. Yes, I do. Of course I do.
What are your biggest pet peeves in ASMR?
I have one. It's when somebody has their microphone on a table and they keep hitting the table or the cord. I can't watch it. I have to turn it off. That's really it. That's like my biggest pet peeve, and I think that's like the only big one.
What is a TV show that you wish you could watch again for the first time?
Maybe Death Note, I think. That was such a crazy... all of it. Oh man, so many. Who would want to watch their favorite TV shows? Like, the newness of it. Or, it's not a TV show, but Hamilton. I'd love to see Hamilton for the first time again.
Hey Jibby, has there ever been a point in your life where you thought to yourself, I don't know if I want to keep making ASMR videos?
Not really. There definitely have been more times in my past where I was extremely overwhelmed with how much I was doing. But I don't think that stopping my ASMR channel was ever like on the table, if that makes sense. That's been a constant.
Hey GB, my question is, how and when did you find ASMR? And when you found it, were you immediately interested? Or was it the kind of thing that grew gradually over time? Thanks.
I was immediately interested. I used to watch like unintentional ASMR videos all the time and like makeup tutorials and things like that because it would give me tingles. So as soon as I found the ASMR community, I'm pretty sure I like jumped into that so fast, like whisper videos and all that. I wish I remembered more details about it, to be honest, but no, I consumed a ton of ASMR content for so long. Before I even thought about starting my own channel too. Every night. Gosh. So good.
What has been the most uncomfortable request that you've received from a fan?
Oh my god. A couple. Recently, notably, a lot of armpit requests. You know what a really weird one was? Someone asked me to pose for a murder mystery party where I was the victim, and they wanted photos for the murder mystery. There was more details, like I'm not gonna go into it because like but that was one where I was just flabbergasted. I was like, what is going on in my DMs right now? You get a lot of weird requests, trust me. Good times. Great. So fun.
Out of all the vegetables you've ever chomped on, which one has the best texture?
That would have to be Man, I think they might be like broiled carrots. Where it's like, they're like the long, wedgy carrots that are like almost blackened at some points. I could eat 5 million of those. Just the chomp is elite. Thank you.
Hi, Mama Jeeps. I hope you're doing well. And my question is, if you can meet any character in the Avatar universe, who would it be?
I would love to meet Zuko. I would also die to meet Korra. And obviously Iroh, because I feel like Iroh would be the most wholesome interaction of all space and time. Don't make me choose. Thank you guys so much for lending me your voices. Thank you for asking me those awesome questions. And I hope you enjoyed this video.